Thanks for joining us for another edition of Chronic Conversation. As always, I am your host, Jerry Lennerson. Anderson. I tried to combine those two names. Leonard, aka Anderson. It's hard having multiple personalities, let me tell you. Along with my beautiful co-host and wife, Jen. Say hello.
What's up?
That's her hand if you don't recognize it. And we'll give a shout out to my sponsors. I haven't got the copy ready, but I'm gonna get a copy. But if you get a chance to go check out Jesse's Resale and you're in the Georgia Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe area, please go give that a check out. Go check out Not Bad Creations on Facebook for all your paracord needs. They make everything from motorcycle get backs to leashes to whatever you can think of that you might need. Why are you laughing when I say leashes? Not those kind of leashes. Whatever you need your leash for, date night, your dog, whatever, get in touch with Not Bad Creations. Also, Thompson's personal training for all your personal training and nutrition needs. Today, my guest returning for the first time in a little bit. It's been a minute since we talked. Is BKFC fighter. Let me take a big breath. There's a lot of these.
Yeah.
Pro boxer, submission grappler, BKFC fighter, Muay Thai fighter,
Teacher
of the year, great friend. We love him, Juan Torres. Man, thanks for joining us again, brother.
Man, I appreciate you having me, brother, man. Real quick, I want to give a huge shout out to my newest sponsor as well, Knock Hard Boxing Gear. I've got some pretty big fights coming up soon, and man, they're gonna keep me looking good in the ring. So I'm excited about them. I just got, signed with them, so I'm really excited about Knock Hard Boxing.
I'm pretty excited about that myself. Man, look, give me a minute to breathe. I'm really excited about tonight because previous conversation, what I'd asked you and what you told me. So I'm excited for things that I know are upcoming now that we'll get to in a little bit. But until then, I just wanted to say publicly, and because I don't know what the universe or God is doing right now, but a lot of people have lost a lot of people they love. So shout out to your friend, mentor, and coach, and condolences, sir. It's always hard to know exactly what to say, man, but I'm glad somebody like that existed on earth because I see the impact he had on people. And I see that passed down to you, and I see you sharing it and you having that impact on people. So it built him a legacy. So shout out to him and condolences, brother.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, man. My camera meant a lot to me, to all of us. He was like the last interview, I think it was October, and I told you I was man, this is gonna be the dude that he beats COVID, and we're just gonna laugh about it. And
right,
even up until the week he passed, I was being goofy. He's the only one I really can just be goofy with and
be yourself with, right?
Yeah, he just takes it, and I'd go to the hospital. One time I went to the hospital and demanded to see him, hoping they'd let me see him. I threw a fit, and they're like, "Man, you got to go." So I left, and I'd come like every other day or so. I'd bring him like pictures of me, stuff that would make him laugh and smile, and he was a fat boy, so he loved Whataburger, so I'd bring him like empty bags of Whataburger and
smell.
Yeah.
I love it.
He would call my other coach Ernest, and he'd tell shout
out to Ernest, hey man.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Ernest for sure. He'd be like, man, tell Juan I say fuck him. Just mad he didn't get no Whataburger, but
he just seems so real. It's good to have real people like that in your life because there's not a lot of people like that. It seems like nowadays.
No, there's not, and the outer what people saw was not him. He had the best heart, man. He'd get his shirt off his back. There's been plenty of times where I couldn't talk to anybody but him, and I'd call him crying, and he's gave me a place to stay and lay my head. There's so many things that, and he never gloated about it. He never
held it over your head
held it over your head, nothing like that. He did it because he was that person. He was a good person, so
it's just his character.
His character. And we're doing here in Huntsville and in Houston, And in Texas, really, you're doing our best to, you know, keep his name alive, and you know, we've got the gym running. So it's actually kind of funny. He got kicked out of the gym that we were at.
Yeah.
Ended up having to move to another gym, and it just so happened that our gym that we're at right now, he's buried next to the gym. Like he's
Oh
literally
wow.
buried next to the gym. And you know, his family
Awesome.
says, you know, we were his kids. Like when I tell you he cared about all of us, and you know, in a different kind of way,
Yeah.
we were all his children. We were all his children. So, you know, it hurts
And you can
and it
tell that it
sucks.
came through so much on the videos that I've seen, and
Yep.
I think his legacy's out there. Like I said, I can see it in the, you know, Mr. Ernest, of course, as well, and some of his videos, and the Hit City Boxing Gym. Shout out to them and what they're doing with the kids, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's what it's all about.
The kids.
And you were all great with that. So, you know, thank you for choosing to be the people you are, because that's what we do. We got to choose every day. We got to choose through pain and hurt and the craziness of life and losing people, and still choose to be that good person. And y'all are still choosing that, even though the tragedy you suffer. So that's a great example for others. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, he's I hope everybody can have a him in their life at some point.
Yeah.
Because I've had a him, and those people, with what little things they do, make such a difference in your life, let alone the bigger things on the bigger scale that aren't even realized at the time until, you know, much later in life.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, you could say he was I mean, he was a father figure to me. You know, I have my own father, and you know, but having him and seeing him every day and getting calls from him and messages, it didn't matter what time of the day it was. You know, I'm gonna pick up the phone. He'd pick up the phone. You know, he was a workaholic. He'd have the gym, and let it be known, he didn't make any money off of the gym. There was, you know, most of the time he came out of pocket to try to keep the gym open.
Right.
And when he'd go home and make shirts. He had a t-shirt business on the side. So, you know, he'd make shirts after training people all day, and then go get up and go to another company where he'd make more shirts. You know, it's just, he was a workaholic, man. And, you know, he had the best work ethic I think I've ever seen. The best work ethic. And the way he believed in me. All right. So, like, I guess this is kind of trickling on to, you know, my little announcement, but
Good.
He never really, he was never satisfied with my fights. Like, and I get it. I understand him and Ernest both, that, you know, they expect me to go in there and knock a dude out within 10 seconds. Right.
Right.
So we had this fight against Ron Guerrero 2 years ago for that was my first title, my ABO title. And everybody was happy. I won the title by decision. You know, it was clear that I won, threw the most punches, moved the best. And, you know, you go and give your coach a hug. Coach Ernest, I'm proud of you, man. You did great. You know, you go to Mike, and Mike's like, man, fuck you. You should have knocked him out in the first round. And it's one of those things that always stuck in my head, and he'd always bring it up. He'd always bring that up. You know, you should have knocked him out in the first round. I'm not happy that, you know, it went 6 rounds. It shouldn't have gone 6 rounds. You know, you're just not letting your nuts hang enough. You need to go in there and not worry about getting hit. And he'd always tell me, you know, you got probably one of the best chins in the world. You know,
you do. And your no-sell is the best no-sell of any fighter ever.
Yeah.
Like, I know that fucking hurt. I know it did. But nothing. And you just... Not even, you know, some fighters, they don't necessarily show pain, but they show it in other ways, other tells, like in their eyes or a smile, a smirk or something, or, you know, one of these or something, but not even that. So props, man.
Yeah, well, I tried, man. I tried. Even when it hurts, I tried. But, you know, it's just, he was never satisfied with what I did. And it took me a while to understand why. Is because he saw so much in me. You know, he saw so much potential, so much, you know, of him. I guess, you know, stuff that he couldn't go do. He
Right.
he always called me his mini me. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, he wanted that's like there's no better coach. When I'm looking for a coach, I don't really care what your accolades are, but can you help me reach my full potential?
right.
And that seems like the kind of guy he was. Is
Oh, yeah.
he's not going to be satisfied until he knows you hit that potential that you can, because a lot of times we'll set that ceiling a little low for ourselves because it's a little easier, it's not as scary. But
Right.
somebody else that sees you and can believe in you in a different way, like, that ceiling's it's
To
not
the
even there for him. Yeah, it's not
right.
there.
And you know, plenty of times me and him, and even Ernest now, I can't tell you how many times I've, you know, walked out of the gym, or, you know, thrown my own little fist, like, man, fuck
Of
you. I know
course.
I'm trying hard. Yeah, I'm over here dying. My body hurts. You're
Yeah,
telling me I'm not giving you enough. Like,
yeah,
really, screw you, man. You know, and you know, you sit back and you're sitting there in bed the night of, you know, the incident, and you're like, man, I probably could have done a little bit more,
yeah.
or maybe, you know, maybe one day I'll just keep pushing until I pass out, and then his punk ass has to call an ambulance for me, you
Right.
know. So it was just always a battle with him, and it's still, you know, it's a battle with Ernest, because I see Mike and Ernest, you know, they're different, but Ernest is the same way. He's not gonna give up on his fighters. It's about
Right.
three of us. It's three pros that he has right now, and he's not gonna give up. And we'll go to cussing each other out. And at the end of the day, it's because he cares. It's because he cares, man. I'm probably the most hard headed out of all of us. I think I know everything. So
Of course, and it's part of what comes with being a fighter too, and they kind of uh need you to be that person, right?
yep,
Like, yeah, like you kind of got to. There's that fine line between confidence and ego, but you need to be humble, and but you need to have confidence in yourself as well. And
right.
sometimes that can bleed through either way. And that, again, that's a sign of a good coach that can tell which is which and separate them, and help you find your best. Because yeah, there's nothing, whether it's in wrestling, and I remember hearing keep driving, keep driving, keep driving, or it was my boxing coach in the Army, and it was hit it harder, one more time, hit it harder, one more time, hit it harder. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, am I not hitting it as hard as I can? Am I hitting it
Right.
weak? Maybe I'm just weak, maybe I can't hit it any harder. And then I hit it harder, and you're like, oh, okay, and it all makes
Yeah.
sense. So
Yeah.
it's really cool that he was one of those people that could help make sense of it for you. I bet you still hear him in your head all the time, though, in training and stuff, don't you?
Man, I think about him. It's crazy because I think about him every morning when I'm in the gym. You know, I'm doing my
Hmm.
road work. I think
Right.
about him then. I walk into the boxing gym, and that's the first thing I think of, man. I look over to the right, and you know, we have his headgear and we have his gloves there, and you know, it's one of those unwritten rules. Nobody touches that shit no more, you know.
Right. Right.
And it you can feel him inside the gym. That was his life, so you can
Yeah.
feel him. There's been times where, you know, you can just feel him pushing you in the middle of a sparring round or in the middle of a drill. I can hear his little whiny voice complaining about me going
Right.
half fast, you know. So he's there, and like I said, it's amazing. It's amazing how God works, because
Hmm.
he's buried right next to the gym. Every day when we do our road work, we have to run past his grave. We run past his grave every day, and you know, if I'm getting tired, I'm not gonna stop and start walking around where his grave's at. I'm gonna wait till I'm on the
No.
other side of the road,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, just out of respect, and you know, I don't want him to haunt me that night in my dreams or something. So
Right. Don't want to feel that disappointment running
yeah,
around it. Right.
that's right. So you know, he's there. We feel him. You know, we've had people that just leave the gym crying because they feel him that day or that night. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
he's there.
That's an amazing legacy that he has left behind. Like I am so glad, because a lot of, especially it seems more so, it was one thing in my generation, it seems to get worse every generation. Men seem lost. They don't have a lot of mentors. We don't, people are so toxic and narcissistic. It's hard to know who to look to learn how to be a man. People talk about toxic masculinity a lot, but what they don't talk about is positive masculinity, what real masculinity is. And real masculinity is a man like your coach. He is a prime example of that. And we need to understand the narrative that there's a yin and yang, but he's the other side of that coin. There is a other side of that coin, right?
Right. I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So I know. Can you tell us what happened? Because I was waiting for you to announce a fight, okay? And then I didn't see you on the feed for a few days or something. So then I started getting worried. So then I'm like scrolling through. I'm like, maybe I'm missing it. Maybe you know how the weird algorithms are and stuff. So I'm scrolling through nothing. So I'm worried about this point.
It was supposed to be about. I was supposed to actually fight last weekend for the BKFC. It was supposed to be against Bobo. Bobo Bannon, I think is his last name. And you know, stuff falls through all the time. You know,
of course,
things happen, and it ended up that it all comes down to money sometimes. So the guy that he ended up fighting was actually from that area. So of course, you know, they asked me to, hey, move to the side and let this dude, you know, fight him. That way, they can, you know, sell the tickets over there in Jackson.
Right.
So I didn't mind it. I understand, you know, it's business a lot of
things
time.
happen.
Yeah, things happen. So I'm not worried about it. So I think maybe, well, it was supposed to be March. I was supposed to maybe get on that card, but then, you know, I've been shout out to El Tigre Promotions also, because as soon as I saw that they were having a fight out here in Conroe, Texas, man, I reached out to them, and you know, they've always been great with me. They've always been you know, good as far as putting me on their cards when I ask them or need them.
Right.
So going back to, you know, coach telling me, fuck you, you should have knocked him out. It's been about a year or so, you know, and I don't talk shit. Like, I try, but at the end of the day, man, I just sit there and I'm quiet. But fucking Ron Guerrero, I've been trying and asking for a rematch. And I shouldn't have, because I beat him up. So
right.
I've been trying to get another fight with him, not only so I can please myself, but I know Mike's watching, and I know Mike needs that fight to happen. You know,
right?
And I've been asking for it, and nothing. It came down to, I think he doesn't want to fight me in my hometown area or whatever it is. He's scared. I'm not sure what it is. But
because a fighter's a fighter. I hate hearing things like that, and I hear about negotiations, and even in submission grappling tournaments, there's arguments about rules and negotiations and blah blah blah. To me, if you're a real martial artist, if you're a real fighter, somebody says, "Do you want to fight?" You say yes.
Yep, let's
right?
do it. Right?
Let's do it. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to lose.
Yeah. So he's fought. I think he's had 2 or 3 other fights. Won them. He won 2 titles after we fought for the title that I have. He won one with the ABF, I believe, and then so he won the ABO title for the Americas, which is it's higher than the title that I beat him for. So now he's ranked above me in the ABO. I think he's like the #1 heavyweight in the ABO right now. So I talked to the ABO, and I told him, hey, I'm trying to fight him. I talked to El Tigre Promotions, and I tell them, hey, man, I'm trying to fight him. Well, it ended up he's not trying to fight out here, or whatever his reason is.
Right.
And I just got a call, I think earlier today or last night, my manager was talking to his people, and it came down to the point where I'm like, man, I don't care if I got to fight you in a public restroom.
Right. Phone booth.
Yeah, it don't matter. Like, I just need to do this for myself, for my team, for Mike, so that I can tell Mike, you know, hey, I did it. You were right. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm at that point now. And my manager, Junior, got the call last night, and we're going to be fighting April 9th in his hometown, in his home area, in Harlingen, Texas, for WBC Latino title.
Oh, wow. So, that is amazing. That is awesome.
Yeah, so and that's another big thing. Like Coach Mike, that was his biggest dream is, winning a green. Everybody wants to win the green belt. Everybody wants to
Right.
win a green title.
Right.
So it just, I know Coach Ernest is mad at me sometimes because I say, hey, I'm doing it for Mike. This is for Mike. And he tells me, no, this is for you. You need to do it for you. But this is for Mike. The green title's for Mike. The knocking Ron out because I'm going to knock him out. That's for Mike.
Well, in a kind of a way, in a sideways way, it is doing it for him is doing it for you, right?
Exactly. That's right. Because all he wanted was the best for me. He wanted the best for me. He saw me when I was on my. God put him in my life when I was at my lowest, and I keep telling people that, and at his funeral, I told people that, man, I went through so much around that time and was ready to give up, and God put him in my life, and he made me because there were times where I didn't want to. I didn't want to go to the gym.
Of course.
I didn't want to fight anymore, and he made me get up and go to the gym. He threatened me. He threatened, I will kick your ass if you don't come to this gym. I see so much in you. I will beat the brakes off you.
I believe with my whole heart he would have.
And he would have. He's probably one of the only ones in this world that can probably beat the brakes off of me. So he was put in my life at the right time, and all I can do is just honor his legacy every day by saying his name, by keeping the gym alive, by keeping his fighters. Tonight, I'm actually in Greenspoint right now in Houston. We have Golden Gloves, and there's this little boy, Eli. He started training with him. He's another one of those stories where
the younger kid, the real young one. Yeah, I've been following his story too. Yeah, you saw that. That's so cool.
So he didn't have a male figure. He didn't have that. Mike was that male figure.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, and Ernest stepped up big time, man. Ernest stepped up, and we got him trained for the past few months. He's been training with Ernest and us, and today's his big.
Speaking of Ernest, I just got a message. He says, "He's a lie. I'll beat him up."
That's kind of. Hey, he might be able to move around me because he's got them quick feet.
Yeah.
Once he gets tired, hey, tell him about that jiu-jitsu. He don't want to grapple with me.
Good footwork, but he don't want to go to the ground, huh?
He does not want to go to the ground. That's the only thing. And there's been times where I've sat there, and he don't know this, so this is going to be news to him. We've sat there, and we've argued, and we've come close to fighting. And I'm like, bitch, I got the advantage over you because I'll take your ass down and break your arm. And shit you can do about it, just goofing off, but... Yeah, I get him on the ground. That's the only way I'll probably get Ernest.
You heard him, Ernest. There's another guy on here. He wants to know, who is your favorite fighter?
My favorite fighter? Man, I like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's always been my top guy, And besides Mike, Mike Hammer, of course.
Of course.
My coach. He fought. He used to spar in freaking Crocs, man. Like it don't get. That's as real as it gets right there.
Right. Ernest said, "LOL, love y'all, but I can't wrestle."
See, I told you I got him right there. That's where I get his ass.
Man. Oh Lord.
We got a lot of these youngsters. Today it's just Eli, and like I said, Eli, that's a big deal because. Just how he came about, and he picked back up when he could have just quit. He was heartbroken too about Mike. I think his mom actually posted a video of her telling him about Coach Mike.
Oh no!
He broke down. It was one of those things like, man, I just got this guy that believes in me, that cares about me, and now you're telling me he's gone. So. It's a lot of us like that. It's a lot of us, even just talking about him. Me and Ernest got to watch ourselves because we'll be talking about him, and you'll see Ernest's big, tough ass start tearing up and like, man, quit with all that sensitive stuff,
Right.
It is what it is. He was a great person to everybody around him.
Yeah.
Only thing is, you couldn't take him to a restaurant because he was rude. He'd be rude to the waitresses and then leave like a $50 tip. Just rude as he can be.
Hey, look, look, my wife's a server. She said, be rude as you want to be.
Yeah, just leave the tip, right?
Leave the tip. You good.
That's funny. Yeah. But
Yeah,
so we got the WBC Latino title April 9th, man, and I'm really excited
April
about
9th.
it. You know, I'm putting everything I have into this.
Where can they
fight.
watch that?
It's gonna be on pay-per-view, and you'll start seeing more stuff come up. I think they just got done with all the negotiations either this morning or last
Okay.
night, so we'll start seeing
Wow. So this is fresh.
more posters and stuff pop up, and you know, you'll see more
Please
about
tag
it.
the show, man. Tag me, tag the
Sure,
show. Let me spread
I
that
sure
out
will, man.
because
You guys
people need to
always show
see
me
this
love,
one.
man. For sure. So you know, and then after that, hopefully we can get, I get the knockout and we go April 30th, God willing, everything works out right. We can get on the El Tigre show in Conroe. And, there's another guy who I think he took a message the wrong way because they posted a poster of him and he has a fight coming up. And, he's fought nothing but scrubs in Texas and Colombia. I think he's gone to Colombia. Guys that are like 0-25, just
Guys that are all B-side.
right, B-side guys. And, all I said was, I'd like to fight you. And he took it completely the wrong way and just, went to talking shit. So, he's got to see me now too somehow. So hopefully we can make that happen.
What is it? Do you think that is that? Like I just said, I wanted to fight you. Like, how could you misconstrue that? It's pretty fucking.
Yeah.
There's no miscommunication.
Ego, man. Some of these guys got that ego, and it is what it is, man.
If you mad about me wanting to fight you, then beat me up. Fight me, right?
Fight me. That's right. Don't talk
Shut
shit.
me up.
Just fight me.
Yeah.
That's it. But
they don't want that smoke. I told you before, they don't want that smoke.
They really don't. They really don't.
That one BKFC fight, I wish I could remember his name. A big bearded dude. That you just
look like Kimbo?
Yeah, the dude that you tore up from round one to the very end of that fight, and somehow I think they gave him the decision. I'm really confused about that. I don't know how the scoring works, but I guess it's one of those things they say don't leave it to the judges, and I get that, and that's probably what Mike would tell you.
Yeah. Don't leave it to the judges in their hometown because that was he was from Miami.
Enough said.
He was actually a WBC champion out in England or something like that. He was well known, and I fucked up. I should have knocked him out. And that's all I get.
Look at the end of that fight. He looks so relieved it's over. Like he just, just like
on the cameras, I'm yelling, "Hey, I want to run it back! I want to run
heard
it back!" And he's grabbing me, going, "No! Keep your mouth shut. Don't talk about that."
Right. Let's just hang out. Let me buy you a drink.
Yeah. No, I want to fight. I want to fight again.
Junior Santiago said you won that fight. It was bullshit. I agree. Like again, I don't understand how the scoring works. I haven't watched it enough yet, but I've watched combat sports all my life. Like I'm, one of its biggest fans. So I feel like I at least have a general idea how things work. And this is armchair. Don't know what he's talking about quarterback, but yeah, to me, like. It's one of those obvious ones, too. It isn't like, well, it could have went either way. It's like, no, that's bullshit. Like, he beat that man within an inch of his life. Like, he was still standing, but there was a couple times he was just glazed over.
Yeah. And, that's on me. I blame nobody but myself. The judges did what they had to do.
That's true.
Well,
you do that and let me do this part there. You be humble. I'm not going to be humble for you. I seen that shit. Look,
I appreciate
you tore him up. He was out on his feet, and that ain't even a metaphor. There was a couple times where you hit him, and there's so many. I wish I knew how to make memes, because some of his facial expressions would make some of the best memes.
That's funny.
You ever had anybody do that to you yet? Take a picture and make a meme?
Oh yeah, we've had memes made of me. When I fought for Bellator, I got kicked like right in the groin, and not even probably the fight hadn't been over, and there was already a meme up of that.
Explain to people. So I get this question a lot. They say, don't they wear a cup? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think they get it because. It provides some. It still hurts. Things still move,
Yep.
And yeah, a good kick, a good solid kick, like it may keep them from rupturing, but it still hurts
Yeah.
so bad.
Oh yeah, it still hurts. Yeah, you still feel it for sure. No doubt.
And wear them in jiu-jitsu, not just for protection, but they're great for arm bars.
Yeah, yeah. True story.
True
Yeah.
story.
Get you a super big one for the arm bars. Yeah.
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 Ernest said his name was, I don't know, Herleus.
Oh, Hurlius.
Herleus.
Something like that?
Herleus.
Yeah.
Herleus.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
He had a
was.
weird name. He was from
Yeah.
out there in England.
Look, that's one job I would not want in combat sports, and that would be to be announcers.
Yeah.
Some of those
Announcers
names.
are rough. Yeah.
Juan Torres versus this guy.
Yeah. Best way to do it. Yeah.
I've done some commentating on some boxing, and I want, like, give me the card and the names in advance. To give me some phonetics. Yeah, so I can write it out and practice it a bunch and sound it out, because especially on the spot, even easy things and stuff, you can.
You get.
I couldn't even say my own name, and it's just Leonard and Anderson. That's pretty easy to say, and I couldn't say that right. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I understand that. I'm not a very good public speaker either. So.
No. Yeah.
I try to keep my mouth shut as much as possible.
Yeah, me too. I'm really too dumb to be doing a show like that, but I like to talk. So,
There you go.
So I tell everybody at the beginning, it's like, I'm not an expert, and everything I say is only a perspective or an opinion. Don't take it as I'm trying to say I know what I'm talking about or it's fact. It's just the way I feel about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But
So we was talking about football earlier. What do you think the Texans can do differently next year to make a serious run?
man, I think
You're the GM. What do you do? What's your first move?
You gotta get rid of Deshaun. You gotta get rid of Deshaun. I think you gotta get a coach first, right?
Right.
You gotta get a head coach, and then man, you gotta.
And y'all can't have Vrabel back. I'm sorry.
Huh? Yeah,
You can't
I
have
would
Vrabel
love
back.
to
I'm
have
sorry.
him. Yeah, I wish we could get him back. That'd be great. But get a good head coach. Get a good. From what I understand, there's a bunch of drama in the locker room anyway. So.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know, man. Get rid of Deshaun, get you a quarterback, and start building that defense up again.
Because them and the Tennessee Titans seem to share that thing to where it seems like they start getting some holes plugged, and then a few over here pop up. Like you get a few holes in the defense, plug in, and all of a sudden somebody's out or injured or that hole. You see that kind of the same way? It's just,
and we've lost so much talent. Like I don't see us actually making a real big run for another 2 or 3 years, man. Like it's gonna be a little
kind of rebuilding.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. They were saying today, I think I saw like a meme or something that they were trying to get that quarterback from the 49ers. What's his name? Garoppolo?
Yeah, Garoppolo.
So
they ain't going after Aaron Rodgers?
No,
man, that'd be great.
Oh, he's coming.
He's already got a house in
Don't
Nashville.
say that out loud. Don't say that out loud.
He has bought a house in Nashville.
Somebody said my wife's telling me that he bought a house in Nashville. I've never been for here's my thing about Aaron Rodgers. He's an amazing quarterback, but guess what? He didn't get it done this year either.
No, he didn't.
Is he really? Plus, he's not a long-term solution. Like, you still got to think about the future. I get what Tampa Bay did, and that paid off for them. They got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But how rarely does it pay off? Maybe a couple times when Brady did it and when Peyton Manning did it. So the risk reward to me is not worth. I don't know.
I want to see what that quarterback for the Jaguars does because he didn't do very good this year. So.
Yeah, no. You think it was the coaching? You think it was Urban?
I think Urban screwed up a lot of stuff over there, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next year. Who'd they hire? Who'd they get this for next season?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
What are we looking for?
The person that got hired as the
head coach for the Jaguars.
Yeah, head coach for the Jaguars. I'll say it 10 times fast.
I forgot who it was.
Urban Meyer?
He was the one that was fired.
Oh,
yeah, he got fired.
It says actually head coach.
Does it say? Can you put in maybe new head coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy things going on in football all over the place.
All over.
it's been such a weird year.
Yeah.
Leftwich.
Oh, that's right. Byron Leftwich from the
Byron Leftwich. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that'll be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be an interesting thing because he's a great quarterback. And I said the same thing about Cincinnati's quarterback, and everybody's given the coach all the praise, but I feel like he does a lot of the play calling on the field. He's had to in a lot of situations, but he seems to be running that offense more than anybody else is. So I kind of give Joe Burrows. He's just good. I told somebody that even as good as the team around him is, he's better than the team he's on. If he was surrounded by people of his level, it would be one of those crazy undefeated season type things, probably.
Right.
Tom Brady.
Somebody said Tom Brady is the GOAT. Well, I mean, I don't like the man too much. I'm not a big fan, but it's really hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
Junior
So
Sante.
you got the Bengals? You got the Bengals in the Super Bowl?
I was almost wishing it was going to be a repeat and San Francisco would win, so it would be the repeat of the last time the Bengals went in and lost to San Francisco.
I'm just there for the halftime show.
Yeah, we're just mostly there for the halftime show.
The commercials.
But I don't know. I think the Rams are going to pull it off.
Yes, and the commercials.
I
think so too.
Yeah, that's again.
All the uniforms are ugly, so what?
Yeah, no, I've said all the uniforms are ugly. So what does it matter?
True story. Yeah,
that's how I judge a football game. Like, you want to watch this game? I'm like, I don't know. Are there any pretty uniforms or no?
They got them loud uniforms. Yeah.
That's why she likes the Oregon Ducks. Her favorite college team is Oregon Ducks because they got the cool uniforms.
Oh, but it's been for years.
Like it's been for years. I mean, she's an avid fan, so more power to her. Yeah.
Okay. Mariota.
Mariota. Yeah. Well, he didn't turn out too good, did he?
No. God, I had such high hopes for him.
He's with the Raiders now, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's a backup on the, or maybe he's Mariota, Young. Those guys. I had such high hopes for. Like they broke my heart. They really did, man.
Yeah, Young, man.
I wanted everybody to be McNair. I wanted everybody to be McNair, and they just weren't.
Yeah.
And though everybody's really pissed at Tannehill now for his 3 interceptions, I'm not so mad. Like I feel like I'm pretty dumb, and I trust the coach. He's like Coach of the Year material. And John Robinson is an amazing and intelligent GM, and I feel like if they feel like he's what they need, then he's what they need. Right. Like, I can't break it down for you and tell you why, but I trust them, and I'm a fan. Do you think when it comes to fighting, football, pro wrestling, everything now, everybody's too much of an expert and a critic, and we can't just sit back and be fans anymore?
Yeah, I think everybody's got something to say about something, and they don't understand.
No.
Yeah.
They don't. They most of the time haven't done it, haven't experienced it. And even if you have, you're not doing it now and you weren't in that fight.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Of course, I still watch pay-per-views with guys that say things like, why didn't he just move? You know what? Let me call Juan tonight and I'm going to ask him that. It's like, why didn't he move? He was throwing them punches at you. Should have just moved.
Well, I tried. Shit.
You feel silly now, don't you? It's great. Or do you ever get to watch like pay-per-views or fights with guys like that are just so entertaining because of the things they say? Because you can tell they're just no clue.
You get your mind off the fight and you start listening to the shit that comes out of their mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, just
you're trying to focus on the fight. And they just black out. I couldn't be in that sport, man. I'd hurt somebody for real. Yep. Bruh.
I'd see red or something.
I see red. Like I go blank, man.
I
kill somebody. That's why I can't do it.
That's crazy.
I got the dim mock touch, so you can't. I'll use it too. I ain't afraid to use it.
Oh, bro.
I remember one time somebody told me that no grappling would be effective in the street. I said, don't you think if you had somebody right? So just to jump on one submission, I said, don't you think choking somebody is a pretty good way to stop a situation from escalating? He said, well, if you got me in a rear naked choke, I'll just bite your arm. I said, this is a life or death situation. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to put my arm in your mouth and start squeezing, and I'm going to say go.
Yeah.
We're going to see who lets go first, okay?
Exactly. That's right.
Because they don't even think of that cranks, because, again, they don't know what they're talking about. I'll just crank you. I don't care.
Yeah. And, like, 95% of the fights end up on the ground anyways.
Yeah.
So if you know your way around on the ground,
If nothing else, you can get back up to continue, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to know your way around, no matter what your strengths are. If you don't,
That's
like, if you go down and then you're lost, right?
yep. Yep. You're done. That's it. If you don't know how to get up, if you don't know how to move your hips, you're done. Yeah.
I mean, I may not be looking for like an ankle lock or an arm bar, but there's still some shit I'm on, right? There's still some
Yeah.
stuff
Some
that's very
basic stuff
effective.
that you could do. Yeah. Basic stuff that you could do to get out of that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just, it's really entertaining, and I'm just giving these guys a hard time. I'm no pro or anything myself, but uh, so I'm talking shit, but that is fun to do. Are you still a big fan of combat sports, or are you one that you're just doing it because you love to do it, or do you love to watch as well?
I love to do it and I love to watch. I think right now I enjoy watching the BKFC mostly out of everything. You know, BKFC and boxing.
Yeah.
You know, boxing I still watch it like I'm watching film. So, you know,
Right.
I see some moves that I might like that I'll go to the gym on Monday and try, you know.
Right.
So, but
Things that my pitching style, yeah.
BKFC is just like I'm a fan of BKFC. Like
Right.
I see the BKFC and I'm like, man, I'm excited, you know.
It's very entertaining. And
Yes.
and people like Joe Rogan, myself, and others has been vowing that's I know how you see some of the faces of BKFC, but there's lots of fights and some of the faces aren't too bad. And you got to think, because the first thing they say is, well, you know, no gloves, so it's more dangerous. But they always think the gloves protect the face or headgear protects your head and it makes the punches softer. It doesn't, right? The
gloves
head
protect your hands.
Your hands, right? So it changes up strategies and how you have to fight, right? Like you have to hit different. You have to like pick your punches more carefully now, or
you pick them more carefully, and a lot of times you don't throw so heavy towards the head. If you're gonna throw with all you got, you're gonna throw it to the body, because the head, you know, your opponent ducks his head, and your hand's gonna explode on the top of that dude's head.
Yeah,
9 times out of 10, you're gonna break your hand on that dude's head if he ducks his head, or you know.
Even with the 4-ounce gloves, people like Fedor and lots of people broke their hands all the time throwing the big punches. So this is no gloves.
Yeah, the gloves don't matter, and I think it is more safe because of that. Because you're not gonna throw as hard because you're barehanded. You know, you're barehanded, so of course you're gonna try to take care of yourself while you're fighting. You know,
of course.
So and I've heard it from other bare knuckle fighters. You know, like I don't throw heavy. And you know, a lot of guys don't throw heavy.
And if you do, it'll probably only be once, right?
Right. And it's because you've got that shot and you know that it's gonna land. You've got the perfect shot. It's not gonna be like the first round and I'm gonna throw my heaviest shot at your head, and you know, you're gonna duck your head and I'm gonna break my shit. Like it's gonna happen.
Right. And BKFC is kind of like the old UFC in the way that the people that fight in it are from all combat sports. Like there's MMA fighters, boxers, kickboxers,
right?
Juan Torres, who's everything, of course. But do you find that is there any certain people with certain backgrounds that are a little tougher, maybe because of the cross training or something else? Do you think that gives them an edge? Is it a disadvantage because now they have to focus on one thing, or how do you feel about that?
I think the advantage goes a lot to the MMA and the Muay Thai guys because of the clinch, because you're allowed to clinch and you're allowed to hold the back of the head. A lot of boxers, they don't know how to do that.
You fight how you're trained, and they're trained not to rabbit punch or a lot of the rules that you don't have in the BKFC.
Right. So Muay Thai fighters, I would give the advantage to Muay Thai fighters because they know how to grip the head and drop the elbow and keep that clinch tight.
Right.
So for sure, yeah, I would say Muay Thai fighters.
And jumping back to grappling real quick, I know you've done a bunch of grappling tournaments, I'm sure, submission grappling tournaments. You know, like each one comes with its own set of rules. Like I said, the upper echelon, people will negotiate rules and, you can't do this, or this is how we start out of, neutral or whatever. Right. Do you find it's more difficult doing like the grappling circuit because of the rule changes, or do you have your game and no matter what you go in there with your game? Because again, you do what you're trained. So if you train to do something that
my game, as far as grappling, my game hasn't been affected. I do what I do, And if we're like in a rules meeting and they tell you can't do a certain thing, I'll try not to do it. And if I end up doing it, then so be it. I'll take that warning. I'll take what
That's what I was
whatever.
going to ask. Are they pretty good about
Yeah.
giving warnings or?
Yeah, yeah. Warnings, and if you get a point taken, you get a point taken. Whatever, it's part of it. I'm not gonna slow down too much, just to appease to their rules. So if I mess up, I mess up. Take the point.
Right.
I mean, if you disqualify me, if it's that severe where you get me disqualified, then so be it. But
right.
I'm not gonna slow down too much.
Right. You still got to kind of do you, right?
Yeah, you got to do you. Yeah.
Yeah. I even, for an example, I did a tournament in the Smoky Mountains where, certain wrestling rules like takedowns were so much, throws were so much, but submissions only counted as 15 points. They didn't stop a fight. It's the only tournament I've ever done in my entire life where a submission didn't stop the fight. Have you ever had any? I was going to ask you, have you ever been in a tournament with just some kind of weird rule where you're like, what?
No. Nothing like that. Like you submit somebody, you won, right?
You're right. That's what I'd always thought. By the way, this was my very first tournament, so I was already nervous. I was terrified, and I'm like, wait, I've been practicing to stop this with submissions. Not only that, I'm a fairly short guy. I'm 5'7", and the guy I face is like 5'4". I've never faced anybody with a lower center of gravity than me. I'm used to always taller guys.
Being tall, yeah.
It's being your size. You're a pretty good size guy, so are you usually the bigger guy? Do you have trouble with either bigger or smaller guys for any reason?
Boxing, MMA, for the most part, I'm always the shorter, heavier guy, man.
Right.
I'm right at 6 foot, so, and that's like on a lucky day where I get a good stretch in, I'm 6 foot.
Right, on tiptoes.
Yeah, so, most of the guys that I fight, man, they're like 6'4", 6'7", they're
right.
big boys, I used to be the heaviest. So I like my first boxing match, I fought a guy that was 6'7", 290. Well, that fight I came in, I was, 6 foot, 299 or something like that. I was big, So now I'm the shortest and the lightest. But I can move
fighting guys that tall. How much inside fighting and clinching work do you practice?
That's all I used to do with Mike. That was Mike's game. That was Mike's game. Mike's game is get inside and
I bet there was some training too. Clinch work with Mike. That's a thick dude.
Man, that's a big old boy.
Solid. He looks solid too, bro.
He's very solid. For the longest time, he was my only sparring partner, right? So you'd get days where he'd get to the gym and he's pissed off because he had a crappy day at work. Well, who do you think he's going to take it out on?
Right.
This guy,
Yay!
Yeah. And you knew he took it serious because he'd get out of his Crocs and put his boxing shoes on.
Oh, no.
He didn't wear a mouthpiece whenever he sparred, but whenever he was serious, he'd put the mouthpiece in, wrap his hands. Like,
he was ready to take that receipt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, that's one of the things that, I'll always miss about him is those sparring and the inside fighting with him and the 6-inch punches. He used to call them 6-inch punches. Oof. You can knock out a dude with a 6-inch punch, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you get that. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good Lord. How did it feel the first time you knocked out an opponent? The first time I did was in amateur boxing, and I'll honestly say it's bittersweet because I'm not normally a violent guy, and you don't know this dude. So on the one hand, I was super stoked that I knocked him out and that I won, but on the other hand, I almost felt a little guilty afterwards. Is that a normal thing, or?
I didn't feel guilty. It was more excitement. It was more, man, I don't have to fight the rest of these rounds.
Right.
I get
it was that too. I was tired.
Yeah. So, I think my favorite knockout came when I wasn't even expecting to knock the guy out. It was a left hook, and it was like the second round, and I didn't even throw it with bad intention. It was one of those where it landed just right, and the dude's head just snaps, and you see him fall to the ground and get in the curled up, and I'm just, well, that's it, I guess. I walked away, did a little dance, and walked over to Ernest. That's probably my favorite knockout, boxing wise. So
yeah, that's it is, and it's overall it's an amazing experience. And like you said, you're so happy. It's like, oh, I don't have to do this no more. And like you said, it came out of nowhere because I was a gym bully, so I was used to putting guys down. So here I'm in my first fight, and I'm doing everything I did in sparring, but I'm not putting this guy down. So, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this psychologically at that point. So when he went out, so happy.
Yeah.
What? I imagine that's probably how you felt after training sessions with Mike.
Hell yeah, the best time, the best feeling you can have is after sparring 8 to 10 rounds with Mike. After a shitty day, after him having a shitty day, all you can do is just be thankful and go home. And
you're not mad about nothing no more, right?
Nothing. That's right.
People ask a lot. They're like, I hear this a lot too. Well, if they hate each other so bad, why are they hugging after? It's like, do you not understand? They just went 10 rounds and just they were trying to murder each other. Like legit, they're trying to murder each other, and they push through that.
It's a mutual respect, man. It's you both
no overtime pay in boxing. He said, Johnson.
Huh?
Johnson said, Ernest said, no overtime pay in boxing.
No overtime. That's right. You don't get paid overtime.
That's
right. Get in and get out. Yeah.
That's a good saying.
Yeah. But it's just a mutual respect with boxers. You might hate each other, but hey, you both got in there. You both duked it out, and at the end of it, just like anywhere else, in the street or prison or wherever you're at, you shake hands and go about your business, man.
Right? Yeah, it's done.
That's just a man thing, I think.
Yeah. Plus, it's escalated. That's the top level. Next to that is murder. So there's fighting and there's murder. So we've done everything we can to settle this without murdering each other.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of in boxing or combat sports in general, man, we're there for the same reason. We're there to feed our family, point blank period. At the end of the day, I'm there to feed my kids. I'm there to, make sure I got a roof over my head. And after the fight, man, I'm paid. You're paid. We go about our business.
No reason to be mad anymore, right?
No reason to be mad anymore.
Yeah, there's just no reason. Well, man, I appreciate it. Is there anybody? We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Before we do, is there anybody you want to give a shout out or anything else you want to tell anybody?
I for sure want to thank Hard Knock Boxing Gear, my homeboy Love, man. He was one of Mike's best friends too, man. He just started his boxing gear business, and he's blessed me enough to sponsor me and take care of me. So I appreciate him so much for that. Of course, always Junior and Top Tier Management Group. He's another one that I don't trust very many people, and I know I can trust him with my career and always looking out for me. Coach Ernest, we might butt heads every now and then, but I understand more than ever that it's for my own good, for him, him believing in me. I actually, my homeboy and close friend Gilbert, he's over there. There's another gym that I'm attending to work on, different things. I go to 2 different gyms. And, his name's Gilbert and Jose. Both of them, man, they've been doing, helping me out with, with the extra stuff that I need help with, the punch count, getting my punch count up higher. And, I appreciate Jose Cabrera and Gilbert, man. They're always looking out for me, also, you'll see them too very soon. So
I don't think your opponents are going to appreciate all that quite as much.
They're not, man. It's going to be a different person with a different mindset. The thing is, man, I'm not friendly no more when it comes to this because
you can't be right at this level.
Yeah, now more than ever, man. I see it, and losing Mike and not being able to fulfill Mike's dreams for me. I have that attitude now. I have Mike's attitude. I have that fuck you attitude. So you'll just see a completely different guy come. I think maybe March 5th we're gonna have a tune-up. So the soonest you'll see me in the ring, possibly and hopefully, will be March 5th. If not, April 9th. It's a different animal, man. I'm not playing anymore.
Great news for your fans, for your opponents. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. That's right. Also, real quick, I want to thank LT Red Promotions, man. They're, like I said, they're always looking out for me. They're always, when they're taking care of their Houston, their Houston fighters, and so I'm very appreciative of that. Also, I want to give a shout out to JR, he's one of my heavyweight sponsors. JR, Chris, and Andrew, all three of those guys right there. This month, next month, or the month after that, they're turning pro, so they're fixing to have their pro debuts. Make sure you look out for them.
Absolutely.
JR is a freaking monster, dude. When I tell you, he touches you with a jab, you're gonna feel it. Chris and Andrew, they move like freaking killers. Chris he's got that Muhammad Ali movement. So, look
smooth
out for
and
him.
fluid.
And Andrew, man, Andrew's just that good old Mexican style fighter, bro. He's just
War.
He reminds me a lot of Canelo. You see the way he moves, and just a lot of Canelo's moves. You can tell he studies Canelo. So definitely want to give him a shout out. And my middle school football players, I told them I'd give them a shout out. So, I know some of them are going to be watching this. Mass Park Football, I'm giving y'all a shout out, bro. I'm proud of y'all.
Shout out to the football team. Shout out to all his sponsors. And if you're interested in sponsoring him, please get in touch with him, man. You guys are the ones that make it happen, right? How do they get in touch with you if they want to sponsor you?
They can hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well. The Sledgehammer is my Instagram tag or whatever. Y'all hit me up. I've got some big things coming too. I've turned down about 6 or 7, fights on ESPN, on Daz.
Oh, wow.
So, we just want to make sure we're right before we take those fights.
I get that, yeah.
I've left a lot of money on the table so that I can train and prepare the way Mike and Ernest would want me to. So, like I said, I'm a different fucking animal, and it's about to come out. And it's about fucking time because I'm ready.
Yeah, I can see it, man. I can tell. I can tell your vibe's different from the last time I talked to you. Man, I see the warrior in you. I see Mike in you. I see everything you've ever been through in you, ready to come out. And again, sorry, not sorry to your opponents, but thank God for me because it's going to be very entertaining.
That's right. I appreciate you so much for having me. Thank you.
Of course, man. I love having you on here. Anytime you want to be back on, you just let me know and we'll get you back on. You have an announcement. Even if it's a little quick thing, we don't always have to do extended time. If you just want to come on here and make a few announcements, or you need to get something off your chest, or you need to holler at somebody, you just give me a call and let me know, man. Just stay right here when we get off, and I'll holler at you, okay?
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. Ron Guerrero, I'm coming for you, motherfucker. I'm coming.
He's coming.
Beat your ass out, bitch. I got you, ho. That's it.
No doubts. I have no doubts, man. I just can't wait to watch. This is going to be a finish, and I can't wait to watch it. I'm very excited to know that I'm going to get to be a part of that. And I know everybody else is too. So make sure you watch that BKFC fight. If he fights in March, make sure you watch in March. Also watch Chronic Conversations and keep up with us because we'll make announcements as they come in, or he sends them to me as well. Thanks again for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. That's the only gift you can give that you don't get back. So I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. I appreciate everybody that was watching, everybody that topped in. Sorry, I'm talking, so it's hard for me to respond sometimes. So if I didn't respond to you, I apologize. I'll try to get to you the next time. Yep. Junior Santiago subscribe. Thanks, brother.
Junior, what's up?
Shout out him. Junior, what's up? Good to see Junior. Another great dude. Oh, and Ernest says, also follow Hit City Boxing on Facebook. Definitely follow that.
Yes.
And support them in any way you can, man. They need it. If they have the Golden Glove matches, anything, that go there. That helps out. Just whatever you can do to help out, man. These kids need it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So thank you so much, Juan, for being back on, man. Thank you, Ernest Johnson, for writing in, everybody else that topped in. Thank you to my beautiful wife, Jen, for being my co-host and being so supportive. I love you. You're my everything. And we will see you next time on Chronic Conversations.
Peace.
Peace. Bye, everybody.